Thanks for the warm introduction. Really glad to be here. So, over the next 50 minutes, I would like to talk about what's important for an insurance business to be successful in the future. We at Ascent, we help insurers implement digital products, digital business models, and run them. So, we have a pretty good experience and pretty good understanding of what's important to be successful. So, let's get into it. So, if you follow the big consulting companies, McKinsey, PricewaterhouseCoopers, you're probably aware of the insurance market surveys that they publish every year and the mega trends that they see on the horizon. So they talk about the impact of economical changes, political, social changes on the insurers' business models, also about technology changes, about digital, about data and AI, about the changes in customer behavior. And these trends are fact, right? So they are up and coming or already taking place today. And every insurer basically needs to consider them in their strategy, one way or another. So we are practitioners, right? So we have obviously an opinion on what's important to be successful. But in order to get a real business expert's view, I went to an underwriter I've known for many, many years and asked him the question, so what does an insurance or reinsurance make itself, how does an insurance or reinsurance business make itself future-proof? And well, this is what he came back with. Well, that's simple. You just have to offer the right insurance product to the right target audience over the right channel at the right time and predict the future, of course. Wow. There it is. That's pretty generic marketing, right? So these are marketing principles from last century. So what do I do with this statement now? But the more I thought about it, I found there are some pretty important points to it, right? So let's think about the right insurance product for a minute. So what does it take to develop the right insurance product as an insurer? What characteristics should you show as an insurance business to do that right? You should be agile and focused on productivity. So agile methodologies have proven to be very successful in the past. So when I look across our portfolio of projects we've done in the past decade or so, there is a very strong correlation between successful digital products and successful and creative and functioning teams that were working on the product and were creative and helped them make a success. So I think this is a very important quality that keeps a requirement in the future going forward. It's also an important principle to test and fail early. And I'm not referring to feature testing. It's not if a feature doesn't work, run away and give up. It's about testing the product with real customers, make sure they really accept the product and find it an interesting offering. Also, focus on productivity. This will come many times throughout the slide decks. I think this is an imperative. So productivity, it's all about outcome by input, right? And it's not only about cost. Sometimes it can help to have just a kind of a game-changing, a new, fresh idea to improve the productivity in your implementation journey. It's also about having a very constructive environment in the business. So I think the most successful businesses will be the ones that really champion and support innovators. So we found in our project experience many projects that were really slowed down by regulatory requirements, about security requirements that can really impact the go live of your product and your product development. I mean, these requirements do not go away. They are fact, right? So, but I think it's very important to establish an environment that's constructive, that's helping innovative products by providing blueprints, by providing pre-approved setups that you can use in your project. You also should be always aware of disruption. So there's a lot of money out there in the market, right, that's looking for investment possibilities. There are also more and more social platforms. They just know everything about their users. So they are just brilliant to introduce new insurance and financial products. I think when developing new digital solutions, it's important to really understand what's going on in the market and have open eyes and ears. And it's also, of course, data is everywhere. It's also about being aware of new sources of data. Some businesses employ data hunters, whose only job it is to find new sources of data that you can use to improve your services. When doing so, you also should be very aware of how to really scale it from experiment to production. So get it out of the data scientist's workstation and use it in a digital product. And it's not only everything is about covering the risk. I think going forward, it's very important that you find ways to really engage with your customers, that you find risk prevention strategies and use the data. So strategies are important, and every business should have a strategy or two. But we at Ascent found that it's all about execution. So the best strategy is bound to fail if you execute it poorly. So we at Ascent, we believe on focusing on business value, focus on capabilities and how to map them to IT systems. It's very critical to have the right project team, also the right project and company culture that supports and fosters innovation. A company culture that motivates people and makes them go beyond their limits just to create the next innovative digital business model. And it's about communication. So it's about having a vision and communicate it properly to the team to really make the team identify with the vision. Let's talk about the target audience and the channels for a moment. So I think over the last years, the users' expectations have really changed. So everything has to be user-centric. So users only expect the best professional solutions going forward. So it's all about, when defining new digital products, it's about building strong customer experience, provide personalized experience. It's also required to balance security needs with customer expectations, right? So customers expect to have a very convenient, a very supportive user experience. If you fail to implement, let's say, a sign-up process to your insurance product properly, you have a likelihood of 70% that you lose this customer. So in order to do that, you always have to have the customer in mind and be very, very user-centric. And it's not always the best strategy to try to standardize everything. I mean, there are different scenarios. A business-to-business scenario is very much different from a business-to-consumer scenario. And you should make sure that you always have the real target user in mind and not try to standardize everything just to fulfill the security requirements that your security department comes up with. It's also very important to be consistent across all channels. So users have high expectations, not only when engaging with the web application, they also want to have a professional service when calling on the phone. So I had a chat with one of my colleagues at Ascent a few weeks back. He and his partner had booked a holiday trip and they had to cancel it for some reason. And both had insurance coverage for that, travel insurance. And he had a very good user experience to get the claim settled. It was all settled automatically, and she struggled and had to interact with the company. So this made it very visible how important it is to get the user experience right across all channels. Because guess what will be the next insurance company they sign a travel insurance with? So it's also about thinking beyond the sheer coverage of risk. How can you engage with your customers? How can you provide advice and risk prevention? How can you use affinity programs to engage with the customer even more? Let's talk about timing. The right timing is important, and timing can have different meanings in this case. It can be all about efficiency, improving the time to market. It's about reducing cost of development, cost of implementation, and cost of running a product. It's also about reducing development times by using modern low-code approaches. There are more and more solutions on the market that you can use to really get to the market in a quicker time span. And if you manage to reduce the cost of implementing a digital product, the more and more business models become profitable and can be used in the future going forward. So I think in the next few years, it's important to really understand how to make use of these capabilities to get more and more business models that you can bring to the market. I think the platform concept and platform strategies will become very important. There will be a separate slide about that. So platforms can be a great booster in terms of productivity and support projects in developing what they really want to achieve. So I think when we speak about time, this is an important concept in the future to consider. You need to be results driven, so everything should be professionalized in a way that you can automate everything, that you can leverage scale effects, and that you as a business unit decrease your dependency on IT services. So business models are not very likely successful and profitable when you have a very high dependency on IT development projects. So you will try to reduce that and empower the actuaries, the underwriters, to define their products on their own. And timing can also mean to be just right in time. So you should be aware of what's going on in the market, identify trends, be the first on the market, and maybe you need to build up alliances. Get help if needed. If you can beat your competition, you should maybe join them, join forces. So this is a statement that I found in one of the McKinsey surveys that's from Scott Simony, head of industry at Google. And he also found that the companies that will stand out are the ones that are going to find ways to move a bit faster at the pace of the people they are insuring. So I think going forward, it's very important to reduce the time to market, to be efficient in developing these digital products and publish them to your customers. Let's talk about this platform strategy and platform thinking a little bit more. So consider this example scenario. You as an insurance business have 2 product teams working on 3 insurance products. And it's not really efficient when every product team tries to reinvent the wheel all the time. So as a business, you would want to provide really high value services, APIs and tools to them, so that they can focus on implementing real business value and not focus on all the details of the platforms. So by having a standing platform team that runs and operates these API services and tools, you can really boost the product team's implementations of products. So these APIs and services are maybe not only technical, sometimes it can really can be really of help to have a support organization that supports product teams. The platform can also be an external platform, let's say that a reinsurer provides and that you can use to almost describe a new product in a low-code way. And with bespoke integrations that are considered secure and compliant, you can integrate it with your product implementation in a very short time to get to the market. So I think the future-proof insurance company knows how to build and run platforms, how to integrate with external platforms, to be quicker in the time to market, to be more productive and be more operationally mature. Let's talk about predicting the future. So when we hear predicting the future, we think about data. So data is everywhere. We just need to find the sources of data to use it to develop game-changing strategies. We can use it for everything we want. We also need to be curious and be able to ask the right questions. So I had a chat with our head of data science at Ascent, who will be on stage right after this talk. And I asked him, Rich, you are a data scientist. How do you predict the future? And he said to me, well, that's an interesting one. Glad I asked. So he gave me an analogy, given that this area is very, very buzzwordy and there's a lot of terms out there. And he told me, well, just imagine you had a time machine available to your company that you could use to find out what are future trends, what's happening in the future. What would we do? Well, we would try to find out how to behave today to be successful in the future that we have seen with the time machine. So we would use the knowledge that we got to define the right strategy. And this is exactly what I'm trying to do in this session, right? I'm trying to use experience data and information from external sources to find out how to behave today to be successful in the future, right? One topic that I found out, a very practical thing currently, is very important to insurance businesses, is to be able to use simulations or do sensitivity testing. So economy can be pretty volatile these days. So everyone needs to be able to find out what's happening when inflation is 2% higher next year. How does it impact my business model? And I think this should be professionalized. It's better to not do it manually in Excel. You should have the right toolset and the right solutions to be able to do that. Also, I think how we deal with data needs to be professionalized and needs to be automated. So we should be able to move away from the workstations, move away from the experiments to a very professional stage, so that we can use cloud-based solutions to run not only single calculations, single simulations, but do analysis on entire market segments, for example. So one statement that Rich gave me, I would like to forward to you. He told me data can't give us a time machine, but it can often get us close. In an increasingly competitive environment, we need to continually focus on being more right today than yesterday. So it's about understanding data, being able to ask the right questions, and try to understand how we need to change or behave today to be successful in the future. To summarize, 4 topics I would like to give as a recommendation, as an advice going forward. Be productivity aware. Use platforming as a strategy. I think it's an important concept and everyone should look into that. Make sure you understand data, AIs, be data-driven. Essentially, it needs to be part of your strategy. User-centric is very important. Users will have the highest requirements. You have to focus on your target user group. This needs to be in the center of all your initiatives that you run. And essentially, execution beats strategy or eat strategy for breakfast. Be optimized to execute. Be agile and business value focused. Embrace change, tolerate failure. And then I'm sure this is the foundation to be successful in the future. Thank you very much. Don't forget to drop by at our Ascent booth. And next on stage will be Rich Pugh, our head of data scientists, to moderate the panel discussion.